Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carla and I make videos about showing up for yourself. By showing up for myself, I completely transformed my entire life, lost over half my body weight and completely overhauled my mental health. In today's video, you might be able to tell obviously that I am joined by somebody. I am here with Gerard Moran, who is the founder of BodySlims and the brains behind it, although I'm sure he will dispute the brains concept.
Very much so, yeah. Very much so.
A couple of weeks ago we did a Q&A about BodySlims, which, as you guys probably know if you're watching this, is the program that I did that helped me to lose 183 pounds. And just a disclaimer, I am a brand ambassador for BodySlims. While Gerard and the team have not asked me to make this video, I am a brand ambassador, so I just want to put that out here at the start. But I'm not going to do introductions because we've done that already. If you guys want to go and check out our first video together, I'll leave it linked up here, and that answers a lot of questions about the background of BodySlims and a couple of different things. But basically, we're just going to hop into your guys' questions because you guys had some serious questions to ask.
I haven't heard any of these. Carla likes to do this. She likes to get a real response. So it's not like one of these people going on to one of these shows where they get all the questions first and they go, I'm glad you asked me that. So I'm always nervous when we're doing these. I never know what I'm going to be in trouble with something.
You probably should be nervous, to be very honest. Yeah. Let's start off with a question about yourself. And it's from Iris, and she asked, what did you study to learn all of these techniques, or where did you learn about these coaching techniques that you use for BodySlims?
Oh, the University of Life, I would have to say. I've done some things, but I would never attribute it to any of those. For me, it's been more experiential. So, and from people who were smarter than me along the way. From AA all the way up to sports, to managers I had, to coach. And when I was putting BodySlims together, it was more looking at everything I had and I knew, and how could you make use of that to make it useful for other people. So my formal qualifications would be on the ground, but sometimes people will say that as well. Where are your qualifications? And you go, well, you could look at qualifications or you can look at results. And really what we're all about is results. It's actually University of Life, and I wish it hadn't taken me as long in my life to learn it, but I'm at it a long time. I mean, I'm at this since I was in my very early 20s. And being in a position where you're going to lose your own life, not only as a shock, but it also kind of motivates you, where you go, if I actually don't do something, I know what's going to happen, and not sometime in the future, but within the next year. So it makes you become, what would I call it, a lifelong learner and an avid seeker of new information. And I don't think you ever learn all you need to know. I don't think anybody ever can. And I think you just constantly have to keep looking at all the new data, all the new research. So.
Natasha asked, how come there are no negative BodySlim reviews online?
I don't know. We don't solicit reviews, so we don't ask people particularly to do reviews, because the number of people we'd have and the number of comments you'd see on posts, it's just a thing people do. Thankfully, do you know what I'd guess, Carla? I think even if somebody didn't get out of it everything they might have hoped, I think there'd be a genuine sense of where they'd go, I know they're doing their absolute best. And I always say that if our best isn't good enough, and if my best isn't good enough, I apologize, but it will never be less than my best. And I think people probably sense that, and they probably sense the guy really is trying, the team really are trying. And even, I don't know, if it doesn't live up to somebody's expectations, I think when we look and we find anybody doing their absolute best for us, that we kind of go, do you know what, that's okay, I don't know. Yeah. It's the honest answer, but I'm happy that we get the comments that we do. Obviously, it's great reinforcement for what you're trying to do.
I think as well, just to clarify, I used to run an organisation and be in charge of all of the social media and websites and things like that, and we were at one point the victims of trolling by one particular person, and we were unable to take down negative reviews. So it's not like BodySlims are going down, taking down all the negative reviews, just
You
to
can't touch
clarify.
it,
You can't do it, yeah.
In actual fact, I know on our
reviews.
reviews, there's like spam stuff goes in of people talking about witch doctors and everything. Click on this link, and even though you contact Facebook, you go, you know, it's got nothing to do with us. It doesn't come down, unfortunately.
There was a lot of questions, Gerard, about breastfeeding and can you do BodySlims while breastfeeding?
Okay, that's not an easy answer because we're getting into the medical effectively, and everybody is different. So I'll never give a generalized. What I would always say to people is you would need to go and see your own GP. We do not run a program for breastfeeding mothers, not out of any reason other than every two people are different when it comes to something like this, their calorie requirements, their size, even the size of the baby. So it really has to be in the hands of the GP. Could somebody use it? Of course they can. But they would need, you know, we give them the basic formula, but we would not be comfortable or qualified to actually give, these are the numbers you have to have based on your baby being at this age, based on you being at that size. That's a question for a GP.
Cheyenne said, can you do this pregnant? Maybe not to lose weight, but I know midwives encourage staying active during pregnancy if it's not high risk or in need of bed rest pregnancy. How soon, that's one question.
Yeah.
So, and then the second one is, how soon after pregnancy would you suggest starting the full program again?
I wouldn't. I mean, is the simple answer. I'm not going to give specifics. This is really dangerous. People generalize, and there will be nothing easier than for me to sit here now and generalize and say, when you're pregnant, there are some people who are on the program, they're pregnant, we'll always say the same. Go to your doctor, talk to them about your calorific requirements, the movement that you're doing. Of course, it's a good idea to be moving. If you're pregnant, it's a great idea.
If you're able.
If you're able, and equally, if you're able, it's probably not a time to be looking to lose weight when you're in pregnancy and even after. These are individual questions. It's like somebody asking, how fast should I go? Well, it depends on your age, depends on your injuries, depends on your physical condition. The only person who should be able to adequately do that will be your GP.
I know a lot of people will probably be wondering, because they know that I did do BodySlims to lose the 40 pounds that I put on after while I was growing a human, as perfectly normal thing to do. And I waited until the April cycle of BodySlims. So I had Brannock in January and I waited to the April cycle. That's when I actually started a little bit before. I started in March by myself and then did the April cycle. But that's when I felt ready to be able to do it, and I was cleared because I also had a C-section, so I was cleared by my GP to make sure that I was okay to walk and all that kind of thing again. So again, making sure responsible with the allied healthcare professional, but also making sure that I was ready and wanted to do it at that point, and that I wasn't putting pressure on myself, because there's an awful lot of pressure on women to bounce back after having a baby, and I wanted to do it for me to help me feel better, because I knew that the actions that I took during BodySlims made me feel really good about myself, and because I was living with postnatal depression, I just wanted to feel really good about myself, and that's what I did. So hopefully,
and I think it's also worth mentioning, in my experience with very young children, it's probably the hardest time in your ever in your life, in that period where they're not sleeping, you're constantly feeding, you're so vigilant. Like, it's really hard just to get through the day and be okay. And I'd never know that you kind of go, no, the real thing for you at the moment is BodySlims. People are suffering from a lack of sleep, a lack of time, and if it's a first baby, as you know, you're learning so much. I mean, what's it they say? The only time you're qualified to be a parent is when you've been it. You have to do it again. It's how you learn, and it's a tremendously tough. It's brilliant. It's the best time in your life. I really do get. But it's
the hardest time.
Yeah, those first 3 up to 6 months can be just getting through that.
Yeah.
is amazing. It's a round of applause. It's not. And can I put this on your back as well while you're doing? You go.
So do you, just be kind to yourself when you're
most important.
Yeah, it's not. That's not the most important thing at the moment. You know, if you feel that it is for you, you know, with the okay, go for it, but just be kind to yourself. There's no need to bounce. So there was a lot of questions about great and the
pleasure principle.
Yes,
Yeah.
And can you talk more about great and how it affects your ability to maintain, and what is the, like, just a lot of people ask about
overall,
great.
okay. So this is where we're talking about weight loss, weight maintenance. And what I always say is great is the most permanent state. And I glibly then say, why? Because it's great. There's a little bit more to it than that. As you've gone on and you've brought your weight down, you'll generally be able to move faster, which will usually increase your basal metabolic rate, the rate at which you burn calories. So at a biological level, there's a lot going on for your body can now sort of readjust to the new you. But the bigger one is mentally. And it's what we really value. What we really value, we will hold on to. We have treasured items. We have things, even down to your passport. We'll know where certain things are. Other things, we won't have a clue. And it's about the value that we actually put in what we get. So most people repeat this cycle. I've said it to you before, Carla. The super bad. Thankfully, most people don't have to go there. They kind of go to bad, and then they stay on the shuffle. Bad drives me. I'm motivated from pain. The pain starts to abate. I make fair, and I even get to good. Now I'm not feeling the same pain as drove me in, and they tend to not make the final journey to great. When you go to great, it's like a different state. It's a state of, and it's not just a state of how you look, it's a state of how you feel mentally and physically. I often say this, it's like when you're walking. You'll reach a point, if people do it, as they lose enough weight, they rebuild muscle, to where their walking becomes great. And they feel, I could walk at this speed forever. I can walk so fast. I have so much power. And it's something similar with how you look. But what it is, it's about the pleasure principle. Some people are driven to the pleasure principle, and the pleasure, of course, is great. But for an awful lot of us, we move away from the pain, and we don't ever move towards the pleasure. And it's trying to learn that. It's actually trying to remind yourself to not settle for less.
Yeah.
And that when you get there, the biggest thing is you safeguard it. That if you win the lotto and somebody gives you 5 million, you don't kind of leave it in the back of your car. You don't sort of not take care or not value it. You're walking around, you have a team of security people walking around you while you're holding your ticket. It's just something that we do. So the more value that we have on it, the greater we make it, the more value we attach to it. And it's nearly like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But in simple terms, while I say what I say is glib, it's also true. Why do you not? Because it's great. Because I feel I'm a totally different person, and great quite often does that. And usually the journey for a lot of people has been, I was great at one stage, early 20s or whatever, then I lost it, and now I got it back. And sometimes we only value things when we lose them.
Yeah. That really goes back to what I was saying in the last question about when I was living through postnatal depression. So I did BodySlims, lost 183 pounds, reached my goal weight in March of 2021, got pregnant in April 2021.
They're not coincidental either. They're
So like literally I had 4 weeks at my stance of great, coming from 323 pounds down to 141, 146, something around then, feeling amazing. Absolutely on top of the world, cardiovascular health better than it had ever been in my whole life, because I never reached great before. Got pregnant, was wonderful, had a traumatic birth, got postnatal depression, and all I wanted to do was get back to that feeling of great. And that feeling, because I knew how great I had felt when I reached my goal weight, that's why I wanted to get back to great. And because when I did, and I did everything that I could in my power to get back to great, with postnatal depression, with having a newborn baby, it took longer, it was more complicated than before. But when I reached it in June of last year, and I'm still at it now, I'm still at that feeling. And yes, like for me, my mental health will go up and down, and that's just the beauty of having a child and hormones going up and down. But I generally feel great. Like the stance of great is the most permanent state. And I know that there's a question here as well. So maybe we'll go through to this. And I have a video all about this, which I'll link up here as well. But this is a really good question from Paula Squire. She asked, when you hit the wall in the middle, and that's that bit, that's when you're gone from the bad or super bad, and you're no longer at you don't have that motivation that you once had, because you're not feeling as awful about yourself as maybe you did at the start, and you're trying to push through. When you hit that wall, how do you push through? How do you keep going?
Do what I tell you to do. The biggest issue we get in this, people come on, do amazing, do fantastic, they get too good, and they come back to repeat. And I will always say, I only give them two things to do. But what people are looking for is motivation, when what they need is routine. So it's actually think less, move more, because the more you start looking for some kind of revelation from the sky, the less likely it is going to be there. And sometimes it's just about putting your head down. Sometimes it's about inspiration. And sometimes it's just about consistency. And this one is best addressed by consistency. And when,
you know that revelation that you were saying there, you know, it's funny, if you actually do the actions, the revelation will come.
It takes care of itself.
The motivation will come if you keep doing it. It's unfortunate that the answer is you just have to keep going. This question is asked of me and of Ger, I think, repeatedly, and it is, will there ever be a vegan 3-for-2 menu?
No, I mean, there is. Just scrape the meat off. I mean, there's very little in the way of actual sort of meat. A protein substitute, I get it and I apologise for it. This is about being most effective. So it's not about the nicest diet or the best diet or it's just about being effective, and that's the way it's going to be effective. There is a vegan option. Scrape off, because all people are being told is that they can eat a bit of chicken, say, with their lunch.
So you use like chicken strips, like vegan chicken strips. I think, I know a lot of people overthink things, and one of the questions that we get, and I think I've got it in my DMs a couple of times, is if you are changing something with the 3-for-2, should you still count the calories in the 3-for-2, therefore with the changes that you've made to make sure it's still within your calorie allowance?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, you've always got to count. And the 3-for-2, the brilliant thing about it is the 100% nutrition. People are so screwed up on calories, and yes, we have to use calorific deficit to create weight loss. There is no other way. I mean, there's lots of other people, but they're working to the same formula, they're just not saying it. It's what's got to be done. But this confusion between calories and nutrition, what I talk about, the bankrupt calories, that a huge amount of people who are taking in 3,000 calories a day, and you're going, but 300 are nutrition.
Yeah.
When they're doing something like the 3-for-2, but every morsel is nutrition. In other words, one is feeding your body, the other can only be stored as body fat. It's kind of bizarre, and taking the argument to its logical conclusion, you'd eat from the 3-for-2, then eat a chocolate cake and have 6 pints. Yeah. And you know that in some way you would be better and healthier having had the chocolate cake and the 6 pints every day
to get up
than if you didn't, you know, because you've got to have that amount of calorie. You kind of go, no you don't, but you've got to understand the difference between nutrition and calories.
Calories, yeah. And then kind of on the same vein then, so a lot of people are asking about what to do in between courses. So BodySlims runs 3 programs each year, and then there is a 3-week gap between the first and second course, and then there's a nearly 3-month gap between the second and third, and then over Christmas as well. And a lot of people get very nervous about Gerard's hands coming off, which I know he does actually specifically mention in the last seminar. But what is your advice to people to do between courses if they have?
Most important thing, anchor to your walk. Always anchored to the walk. The walk will be the strongest thing. We have a thing called muscle memory. When you go out and you actually start moving, and By now, if somebody's done 70 days, 66 days is the average length of time it takes a new habit to install for it to reach something called the asymptote of automacy or normacy. You should be there. Now, if you keep that up and keep it going, a wonderful sequence of events starts to happen. That if, while you did BodySlims, you were out doing your walk, you were thinking about stuff, you were listening to the seminars, you were even listening to the same music as we give the Spotify list. As you do that, it's like triggering a memory or even giving a clue to an answer. It's like, you know, asking somebody a question and then going, if I ask you a capital city and you're not sure, and I go, well, hold on, if I give you the first 2 letters, an awful lot of people will get it with that. Mm-hmm. So it's there, but it's not, and that's what this is about, is bringing it there. It's also important, you know, we're not trying to create faulty dependencies. So, you know, that people are able to go forward. And I know an awful lot of people come back, which I personally think is a great idea, because you're very unlikely. It does work for some people, depends how much they have to lose and all the rest. We get the people coming out and going, I have a stone to lose. Sometimes they'll come back for maintenance. I think the BodySlims program is great, and obviously I'd say that, but I really do, because I mean, people can use it for weight loss. Then they come back maybe and they use it for fitness, where they suddenly go, and we have so many people who've never been fit in their lives, which always shocks me, because I come from a very different background where everybody was fit, all of us were playing sport, we were all fit. And like the idea that somebody's never been fit and suddenly they reach levels of fitness, and these are measurable. I mean, we don't do it, but they're measured. But the biggest boon in fitness, or biggest advantage in fitness, is between unfit and getting to fit. Getting from fit to super fit, there's a marginal increase. It's not that great, and sometimes for the time spent and the injuries involved, it's not even worth doing. But yeah, it really is, and other people come back. Mental fitness is a huge one. You alluded to it earlier, Carla. That, you know, the idea that everybody walks around every day blissfully happy, you know, life gets in the way. Then go to your walk. That's the most important thing. And another line I'm famous for, don't turn savage. That, you know, just keep, even if you don't want to be on the diet, moderation. Do not go down that road ever of going, the sheep is the lamb. Oh, I've done something wrong. Now I may as well do everything wrong. Sure, but next week I'll be... The damage somebody does in that time, not just physically, emotionally, you start up so many things. Your blood sugar in your body, you're starting to make it very, very, very difficult for yourself. Learning, because going forward, like, I won't be around forever. You know, people need to be able to kind of manage this stuff for themselves. Actually,
funnily enough, we can continue on. All these are leading very well into different questions. So a lot of people, Denise, loads of people on YouTube as well, were asking, will there ever be a specific maintenance program from BodySlims?
Not at this stage. Not at this point. It's not something we'll rule out and go, oh, we never will. But I do feel all the tools are there.
See if there's anything
she's picking hard ones.
I am picking hard ones.
She won't be happy now today until she stymies me here, which won't be that difficult.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of questions about with the April cycle, and obviously we're in more nice weather, and we're not in lockdown anymore.
Walking with tans.
That's Walking with Tans is the April program.
This tour, yeah.
People are wondering about, should they still do the April program if they have holidays booked?
The vast majority of people, the reality is the vast majority of people who come on the April program will have a holiday at some stage, because it runs right up to July. And the whole idea of it is to have people in the best shape come the summer, because the summer is a very, it's challenging for an awful lot of people. Again, I can talk anecdotally from the rooms and the people, the amount of people who came back to me and said, I had the best holiday in my life. I mean, they weren't going, you know, I was in the red, what you call that crib, Baywatch, I was running. It wasn't that. It was just that they weren't feeling terrible.
Yeah.
They weren't kind of going, I spent my whole time covering up, sitting in the shade, trying to find something to wear, trying to find something that didn't make me look, just being able to be relaxed, put on a swimming togs and a sarong or whatever. The
dress or
summer dress, and actually just feeling okay. And it's such a big and important thing. In an ideal world, a holiday should be a break from your norm. If you did it right 50 weeks of the year, I assure you, the 2 weeks when you didn't, you would not need to worry about it. Now, if you want to take that to 3 or even 4 weeks, but you go away on BodySlims, I'm not going to say to people, don't enjoy your holiday. But what I would say is, you can bring BodySlims with you. Once you have Wi-Fi in the hotel, you can click into the videos. You can do your walk, which will keep you on the straight and narrow. You know, BodySlims won't and is not meant to stop you having the cross on. I've said this for years. It's stop you having the second one, the third one. You can go, on the next program I'm going on holidays, oh, that mightn't be, I get it. If you're going away for a month on a cruise or 6 weeks or something, yes, probably not ideal. But you got to be very careful with this stuff. Oh, I won't do the January one because, you know, the weather now in January you do for you. Well, I won't do September. I tell you why. September, it's going to be, the evenings will be getting darker as we're going through. No, I wouldn't do that. April, well, I might be going away on, like, this is what people do. We come up with all the shit. I'm not saying not to go away on holidays, and I'm also not saying you have to do it, because it's very hard. Other than making some healthy choices when you're away, but once you're not in charge of the cooker, you don't have control. But if you get out and you do your walk every day, the weirdest thing is, what I always hear is people telling me, best holiday of my life. Like, they bring BodySlims with them. They do eat, because you gotta eat. Nobody's going to tell you not to eat. But they go, I did it, but I didn't overdo it. You won't do an enormous amount of damage by kind of going, well, I had scrambled eggs and bacon and grilled tomato, whatever, for my breakfast, and I tried to keep to it. I did a walk. At lunch I had a salad, and then the evening I had a steak and chips. It was lovely. And even, you know, we got a dessert, but I didn't get 2, or I didn't, you know, we have the dessert. I love hearing stuff like that.
When you're away, making sure you're present in your body, making sure that you're, like, of course, enjoy. Like, I was in France, you know, like I was away during BodySlims cycle. I went away for 2 weekends, and, you know, it's slightly easier being vegan because you get one option typically on the menu, and it's probably going to be ratatouille, which is not that great in France.
Certainly in France, you get no option.
No, you get chips.
You
get chips is what you get in France.
Leave our establishment.
Here's chicken. Like, no, that doesn't work for me. But, you know, like, and a lot of bread. But you just do what you can and enjoy your holiday. You know, like, we don't get holidays, you know, that often. You probably get one a year if you're incredibly lucky. I did go away for like a weekend. I went to a wedding in Dublin or in Ireland when I was on BodySlims, and, you know, like, I had a couple of glasses of wine. I had, you know, I enjoyed my dinner. I enjoyed a bit of the dessert. I didn't eat all of it. I still got up the next morning, did my walk, still lost 3 pounds the next week.
Wow. And
then make the decision. So you fly home on the Sunday, Monday you're back. You know, like, it's not then, okay, Sunday, but Monday, you know, like, it's, you know, well, we're still technically on, you know, American time. So
that's actually that's such a great point. That thing of, you know, this playing with time. And it really is that. If you want to nail it, you got to nail it. And will it be easy? No, it won't, because you've had going back to work isn't easy after you've been away. Nothing is, but, you know, you do it the first day, because you don't kind of go, I won't go into work today. Like, you're not going to get to the day where you go, today I just feel like to. It won't work like that. But equally, it's the same with that. You just get on it straight away. How you start is so important. So, have my holiday, bang.
Okay, so there's 2 questions that are basically 2 people asking nearly the same questions, and we have 2 minutes to answer the question.
Okay, be quick.
So, I have failed so many diets before, and I'm really worried about starting the April program for the first time. Any words of wisdom that can help me with this?
No. Like the fact that something has gone before doesn't mean it'll happen again. BodySlims is a different approach, but you can't ever give up on yourself. Whether it's with BodySlims or not with BodySlims, you don't give up. I tried everything to stop drinking. Every single way. I will only drink in the evenings, I'll only drink in the mornings, I'll only drink spirits, I'll only drink beer, I'll only drink during the week, I'll only drink... I tried every possible combination. I tried ridiculous stuff. And none of it worked. And I had no reason to believe what I was trying worked. But you never know when the next thing you try is the thing that changes your life profoundly. You would have tried loads of things before. BodySlims, why would you have thought it would have worked? I know you'd Adriana had gone ahead of you, but nevertheless, you could have... The really important message is don't give up on yourself. Like, you can make this happen, but nobody will make it happen for you. That's what BodySlims is about. It's about empowering you to be the best you can be. It's not about doing it for you. I can't do it for you. You can't pay anyone to do press-ups for you.
I can't do it for you.
No, and Carla can't either. Nobody
and Adriana couldn't do it for
you.
me.
No.
I had to do it myself. And I'm very lucky to have a lot of people in the comments telling me that they wouldn't have been able to do it without me or something. I'm like, it's not me. Yeah. I didn't do it for you. You did it for you. Yeah. Gerard didn't do it for you. You just... Either I inspired you and he showed you the way, you know, and like, we can't do it for you. You don't pay the money up front to BodySlims and then a little fairy comes in and moves your arms and gets you out to work, like walking, and stops you putting something in your mouth. Like, he'd be a billionaire if that was.
I would.
Yeah.
No, it's unfortunate, but it isn't. It's a help yourself kind of program. Sorry.
That's alright.
That's your fault.
And it is batteries flashing and everything, so we're running out of everything. Guys, if you've made it to the end of the video, please leave us some purple hearts for BodySlims down in the comments down below. Gerard, thank you so much for joining me.
My absolute pleasure. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to see you, and it's always a pleasure to do these, even if you do ask me all the hard questions.
I went easy on you today.
And if people take nothing else away, whether it's with me, whether it's somebody, don't ever lose hope. There's always hope. You never know what's around the corner. And it doesn't have to be miracles. Sometimes it's just that. Sometimes it's a thing you see, a thing you say, something that happens, something you do. And all of a sudden, such as yourself, you came to me that first night. Yeah. It wasn't easy, and you came in. And you look at you now, and your life, and Brannock, and all the things that are there, and you kind of go, but if you didn't come in that first night, it can't have been here. Maybe been somewhere else, but it can't have been here. And so it's just amazing, but never lose hope. There's no hopeless cases.
Perfect way to end. Thank you very much, Gerard.
You're very welcome, and thank you for your time.
And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll leave the details for BodySlims down below.
Bye guys, thanks for popping up with us.